Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe. Today's video is regarding what we know now in the Charlie Kirk shooting, and we're putting all the pieces together that are known currently to the public and information that I figured out on my show that the public doesn't seem to be aware of because the news networks don't put the same effort in as some of us true crime YouTubers do. All right, I've actually figured out all the different locations, and the only thing I don't know is exactly where each of the images that are inside the campus buildings where the shooter's walking around and you see him going up some stairs, all right? But I put it in the correct order, etc. But I know where the TMZ put out video of the suspect walking on the street, and I was able to find the location. This is the house with the surveillance on it. You know, in terms of the campus is just right over there. This is the house with the surveillance on it right here, and the suspect walks across this street. All right, so let's take a look at the TMZ video. Here he comes walking in from the left. And he's got a limp. Now, a lot of people are speculating, I think it's absolutely reasonable, that he's got a gun that is stuffed down his pant leg and it sort of stops near his knee, and then it goes back behind his right butt cheek and then back behind his back, and the backpack is sort of hiding the fact that there's something that would be bulging back there. And there he is walking by right there. All right, so if you look at the video, and you can sort of see that he's on the other side of the street and he switches over to the right side of the street. And you might wonder, well, why is he doing that? Well, it actually makes sense. Let me show you. The next image in order is this one. So here is the suspect wearing the shirt with the the logo in the front and the hat with the triangle, his jeans on, and notice how he's walking at a 45-degree angle where he's letting his right leg down first, and then so he's still got this going on behind him. He needs to, he's not limping intentionally. He's just going to limp when he has the gun in his pants. So he's letting himself down the stairs in a way that he's able to get down. I mean, it's hard to walk with something like that stuffed in your pants, I would imagine. All right, now this image right here was very hard to find, this location, just given the limited information that's in it. But I was able to do so. It took like 30 minutes, then I revisited it again on my live stream, and I found it. If you see right here, here's a sidewall. See how it slopes up like that? And then there's steps going down, and then right back there is some stripes in a parking lot, and then you can see it's mainly just cement back there, and then you can see the direction that vehicles are parking. Now, I found that location. That location is right over here. And so he's walking down right next to this in this tunnel here. And here's the stripes on the side. So I'll show that picture again right here. And there's those stripes right over there. And look at the angle that the vehicles are parked. And that's exactly what we have right here. And he's going down these steps. So now what we have is right here, he walks by this area. So let's go back to the video. And if we move it back to a little bit further, I'm not sure if you can see it or not, but down here it's 11:48, right down there. So this is before the murders happened. So as he crosses the street, he goes across and then he walks down, and then he probably cuts across somewhere around in here and then goes through this tunnel here. And then after he goes through the tunnel, at some point he's walking like this. Maybe this is just after he goes down the tunnel. He's looking like that. And then we see this image where he's going up some stairs, and see that little garbage can in the background there? He's going up some stairs, and this is further up the stairs. There's the garbage can again back there. And he's about to go around the corner. And then here's the next shot. Let's see. This one's actually after the last one. All right, so it goes like this first. See how his foot is still on that step. So it's this one, and then this one as he steps up on to this area, and then he makes his way up that flight of stairs. And here is that video. Now, I'm not sure why law enforcement isn't putting out this video. This is a video that I think if a person who knew him saw in action would actually recognize him. These still frames sometimes lose information, where if you see motion, you can actually determine who somebody is if you knew who they were. All right, so he goes up, at some point he's going up some stairs, and we don't know where that is, but he walks underneath here, and somewhere he makes his way, walking through halls. They said they have him on cameras going upstairs and doing various things. So maybe he makes his way over here and then goes up these steps right here, and then he walks over to this ledge and fires. So he's right here, and Charlie Kirk is right there on a stage, and then he would have fired and it hit Charlie Kirk in his left neck, right side on the camera. All right, now we know it was on this portion right here because there was an image taken by, or a video even, by a couple people that were standing about right here, and they observed somebody moving up there. And here is the video of that. Now you can see it's exactly the same shot. Look, watch. See this green thing and the buildings over there? See that? Same spot. And we'll play it. And now look, right up here, that is the individual laying on the roof. Very similar to Thomas Crook's. And you see this building, how it's got this tan color, then the black, and then the black roof line there, and then he's laying right on top of that. So if we go back to here, you can see it. It's right there. So we'll follow that in. It's right here. And we'll keep going up a little higher. See if I can get up and see he's laying right there, and that verifies that that's where the shot was taken. Right there. Perfect little angle right down there. And then he gets up and starts running. All right. Now, the first indication that he was running is right here in this video. So this is from to the left of Charlie Kirk, looking back in that direction. And you can see right up there, there's a person running up on that roof. Watch. I did image stabilization, frame by frame. So you can see it. See right up there, watch. He's running up there. We have that, and then let's take a look at this. So this actually continues the run. He's up at the top up there, and he runs around the back of the building. And after the shooting, he does not go back inside the building. So none of those shots inside while he's walking are after the shooting. So here he comes down on the back of the building. He lowers himself down to a ledge, and then he jumps, I mean, a good 10 feet easily, all the way to the ground, and he drops something. Now, it appears that he's broken apart the rifle and put it into a bag. That's why it's a little bit more pliable and it moves around. Somebody on a show that I did probably said his glasses hit the ground. I don't want to take credit for that. His glasses probably fell off, and he put them back on his head, and it does appear that's what he's doing. And when you see him moving here, let's see, well, it'll do that in a minute after it does this 3 times. It shows this portion 3 times, and then you'll see him moving across the lawn. And he jumps down, and he picks up his glasses likely that fell off of his head, and we'll see this one more time. And it appears that he's broken apart his rifle, though, bolt action rifle. And then he jumps down. And look, he looks like he's trying to put his glasses on right there with his left hand. He's putting them on, putting them on, putting them on. And he's got his head down so people couldn't see his eyes. And now he's got his hat back on and his glasses, and he's carrying the gun over to the side over there on a side street. Now, I'll show you where all this is, too, in just a moment. All right, so let's go right to the end, which is right there. Okay, so Brian Enton was out there, and he was pointing at this ladder there. Now, Brian Enton, he made a pretty good sales pitch of like how the ladder would be. You know, it looks like the ladder is something he used, but it didn't really make sense. So we kept looking at it. But you see the evidence markers here. So we ended up settling on that the killer likely climbed down here and then jumped off, because law enforcement said he moved to the other side of the building and then he jumped off. So that's exactly what they're doing here. They went up the ladder to mark various places where maybe there were handprints, something like that, and they probably were able to determine the locations where they need to test based on the video that we just watched. So if we go back to the video that we just watched and move it forward, let me move it all the way towards the end where he's climbing down. Let's go back a little bit here. So there he is. They know that he grabbed there, has his foot there, and he jumps down. And I don't know if he ever touched those windows, so I'm not sure if that was, something that they could have tested that would have made any difference at all. But he definitely did touch up there, for certain. So the ladder was put there by law enforcement, and they used it to mark various areas. So when we go back to this image here, this is what he did. He was shooting from right here, and then he ran this direction behind this building, came right over here, and this is where the ladder was. He stepped down to there and then jumped to the ground. And then from there, he ran this direction, and he crossed the street. And also, Brian Enton, he showed this location as being the place that the weapon was thrown or left. They actually found the bolt-action rifle in these woods right here. And where that turns out to be, if you just turn to the right after he ran over to here, this wooded area right there is where they found the rifle. And they were able to see him because right up at the top of this building here is a 360-degree camera that was filming that entire area. That's exactly what we were just watching. It's right there. See that camera? That camera right there filmed this entire area over here, and it can also film, since it's high up, over there near where he threw the rifle, and they could see that he went in there, and they were able to find all of this different information. So again, he was right here shooting, ran across, climbed down, went over here, and then he put the gun in this area. Then if we go back to the TMZ video, from there, the killer made his way over in this direction, and we see him running like this, and then down right like that. So let's go ahead and play that again. And there he is right back there. And he's moving back behind. And then he's moving around behind that house over there, and eventually he starts running. And you'll see him here in a minute. Coming down right here. I mean, I guess this is real time that they're playing here. You can see some people over here to the right. I'm not sure why TMZ needed to zoom in and, give us this pixel fest. It's ridiculous. They should have just released the image and let people see it. So here he comes, right here. And then you see him, he's running. So obviously there's nothing wrong with his leg either, right? And we saw there was nothing wrong with his leg. He jumped off of a building, and he was moving totally normal and naturally. So looking at that, you see that he's coming back here. Now, I think that's interesting because to me that means wherever he's going, it's not going to be up in this area here, or why else would he arc back down to the same street that he was on originally when he came in? I think that means wherever the place is that he's familiar with is somewhere over in this area. Either a vehicle's parked over there, or there's a home or something over in this area over here. That's just my opinion of that. I don't know anything else other than that's what I would think based on his movements where he was going. Because if he was somewhere up here, after he crossed over there, he would just kind of head on up over there, but he didn't do that. He came back the way he came, and even going to the same street here. All right? So just to recap it for you really quick. Now that I've proven all of the different elements here, he walked by right here at around 11:48. He came down this direction, went inside this tunnel. Then walking through various halls and different places, he ends up coming up these stairs right here, I believe, made it to the roof, and then right at around 12:20 from this location, right on the stage there, he shot Charlie Kirk in his neck. Then he got up. So we'll just try to like imitate it. He got up and then he ran like this. He ran around this direction and then around to right here. This is what it would have looked like from his perspective, maybe a little lower, obviously. And then right here, he climbed down and then jumped down. And then when he's down on the ground, he ran around the corner like this. And then he goes across the street. And then right over in this area, he went into the woods there and threw his bolt-action rifle. And he never went back into the building after the shooting. You know, he never went back into any of the campus buildings at all. So after that, he makes his way over to this area, because you see him on camera going like this, and then runs down into this area. And that leads me to believe he's more or likely to be kind of over in this general area over here. All right, so that's where we're at right now. I hope that was interesting to you and made sense. It's actually sort of a simple story. I mean, I'm sure it's more complex inside the building. But, you know, again, I showed you where this image was. And then the next image is, this is inside somewhere in the hallways. This one is just before, I think it's just before the next image, actually. So it would be this one, just before that one. And then the next image would be that one. And then the one after that is right here as he's going up those steps. So obviously this camera has a lot more information on it, and I think they definitely should release this video. All right. So there you have it, everybody. I hope that made sense. Takes a while to put all this stuff together and to figure this stuff out, but it's always worth it in the end. We're the first channel to put out the information that he went in that tunnel, where the location was of the surveillance footage, and we've put it all together, and I think what we have right now is pretty interesting. Hopefully we get more information so we can add to the already existing accurate timeline. All right, so thank you all very much for watching. We'll see you guys later. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.